Hello and welcome to episode 11 of Operation Bonebox, our Delta Green campaign playing the campaign. Sorry, a Delta Green game playing the Iconoclasts module, mostly in and around Mosul in 2016 when it's occupied by Islamic State. I'm Andy and I'm the referee. The game handler. We're down several players tonight, so we're going to focus on part of the team who are not in Iraq at the moment. They're off doing some other things. Let me start with Chris.
Hi, I'm Chris. I'm playing Agent Khar, who is a CIA agent.
Nick.
Hi, I'm Nick. I'm Agent Pink. I am our pararescue jumper combat medic as well as jet setter.
And Bruce.
Hi, I'm Bruce. I'm playing Agent Jones.
Who has no occupation?
Well, he has done in the past. Combat archaeologist, but generally as what I've said before, but generally the person with a bit of knowledge around ancient history and artifacts.
Yep. Okay. Right. Okay. So yeah, we're short a few players, but the three of you and Agent Sandman were in London, checking out a lead in London on some information about the some of the tablets, the tablets Winds Unknown to Adad, and you've discovered that there are potentially others that might be good to see within the Baghdad museum, and so there's some conversation going there at some point. But you also got a lead on another potential information source, something called the Nancotic manuscripts. And Agent Jones actually has seen a copy of this, unaware that it is something of an unnatural nature, more that it was just a very old historical set of manuscripts. Seen them in knows of a copy in a museum in Athens. And so the three of you have decided to split with Agent Sandman, and Agent Sandman is going to return to Kirkuk Air Base, where the other two team members are, and update them. And the three sort of support staff you have. And the three of you are going to go to Athens. Okay. Now, you fly overnight on Saturday the 9th of April into Sunday the 10th of April. You know that from the updates you've had sort of with the other team members, that there is a second call with this potential rival team arranged for later on the evening of the 10th of April, that Agent Hawk and Agent Farmer have been working on, with a potential, and they're hoping to try and arrange a face-to-face meeting. Okay. As you land in Athens Airport, you actually receive it's now. Hang on a second. I've got to work out the time thing here. Right. There's actually the plane you came to London on, that is scheduled to return to Kirkuk. So Sandman takes that one. You then use your influence. In fact, actually, this is something that we should probably actually. What is your guys' bureaucracy, or the relevant skills would be bureaucracy or military science air?
I'm 62 on bureaucracy.
Yeah, more than me.
Okay. 62 on bureaucracy. I
However,
think,
I should just say I'm good at bureau. I know my way around an organisation.
yeah. Okay, so that's high enough. No dice are required. You're able to arrange a plane. There is a slight delay, and you actually leave London. You end up sleeping in the airport for quite in the air. Sorry, the airport at the US military airbase for a while before taking off in the early hours of the morning. And when you arrive in Athens, which is not the longest of flights, and your mobiles connect back to a network, you get some updates. Okay. Sorry, let me just right. The first is this. Oh, didn't do that. So this is essentially this is a report. That time is Mosul time, about the discovery of the dead bodies at the Rassam compound, and this is some intercepted reports, cell phone intercepts that have now been found and collated by someone in your Delta Green team. Yep, someone's still in Kirkuk. Okay. Okay. Right. Just to read it out. So, Daesh forces from Aman al-Dakhili, which is internal security, received reports about the casualties at the Rassam compound on the 5th of April, with cell calls making their way up the chain of command to someone called Colonel Usman Zaki, who is known to be the Mosul head of the internal security. Signet intercepts confirmed that the troops at the road checkpoints were discovered first, and the troops at the camp were subsequently found upon investigation of the site. Colonel Zaki attempted to contact Colonel Ahmed al-Jabiri, who's the Mosul head of Daesh counterintelligence. He attempted to contact him 4 times on the 5th of April after being informed of the attack, as al-Jabiri had ordered the men to guard the checkpoint and the Rassam compound. On receiving no response or reply, Colonel Zaki then issued orders for the site to be cleared up and for the road checkpoint to be re-established at a different location. Therefore, the Rassam compound is now unguarded. Bear in mind, you had drone overflying it, but then that drone has subsequently been moved to the base of the rival team that you discovered. Okay.
Yep.
And you attempted but weren't successful in getting a second drone. Coalition analysts believe that the incident relates to internal conflict within Daesh. So, coalition as in Iraqi forces, Kurdish forces, and then their US-led backers. So coalition analysts believe the incident relates to internal conflict within Daesh. A request has also been made for the drone footage from the 1st of April to the 4th of April, as in the drone footage from you. But this has been denied as the requester does not possess security clearance to view TF01132 material. So that's your CIA cover. Okay. Coalition analysts presume that that the Rassam compound was a potential location of your CIA team's target. Okay, and so the conclusion is that the security of your mission is not compromised. And the question is, and you don't need to decide this now, this is probably something to discuss once we've got the full team back together. This is such as something
Yeah.
that the guys in Kirkuk need to worry about, is should a doctor version of the drone footage be released? Yeah, to further steer the coalition analysts away from your team. Okay.
I mean, yeah. I mean, we wouldn't have to doctor the drone footage that much.
It would show, but it shows a very, I mean,
Yeah.
depends if you want to take out the bit about the attack.
Yeah. Well, I think. I mean, we'll discuss it later. Don't worry about it now.
Because there's also in that drone footage is you guys arriving.
Yeah. Ah, yes. Okay, fair enough. Yeah.
Yeah, and searching the compound. Okay, so that's one thing that turns up. Okay. And then a second thing, there's also, you're sent a link to actually a CNN web page. Okay, about further ISIS atrocities in Iraq, about dismembered bodies being found in the Tigris River. So the CNN report says that further evidence of atrocities committed by ISIS has emerged overnight. Sources close to Iraqi authorities are claiming body parts from at least 3 different male individuals have been recovered from the Tigris River, just north of Al-Shirkat, approximately 6 miles south and downstream of the city of Mosul. Mosul was captured by ISIS in June 2014 and is currently under siege by coalition forces. The UN has been collating details of war crimes committed by ISIS in the territory they occupy. According to eyewitness accounts gathered by CNN, several dismembered body parts were recovered from the Tigris River early this morning, local time, by several fishermen. So that's the morning of the 10th of April. Investigations are continuing to ascertain how long the body parts have been in the river and how far they could have travelled in that time based on current river levels. At present, the authorities have not recovered a complete corpse. One local fisherman stated that the arm he found had no skin, and a UN war crimes investigation team has been sent to Al-Shirkat to handle the forensic analysis. Searches both upriver and downriver are continuing for additional body parts. Okay. Did that pop up, by the way?
Yep.
Yes, it did.
Yes,
Yep.
it did. Yep. The handout is showing correctly. Yes.
Okay, so before we actually move on, right? So you get this, you get these come through as the plane you're on is landing in Athens Airport.
Okay. As we get there, Andy, I'd just like to say that we had a bit of downtime, and you're kind of narrating what was going on. A couple of things I think we should do. Basically, use my people skills to phone ahead and arrange a slot for him to look at the restricted collection in the in the library, under an appropriate false name that he selects, appropriate name that he wants. Set it all up so they expect him and an assistant, which will be me.
And what am I, the chauffeur?
Yeah. I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know.
Okay, fair enough.
Okay.
His assistants and his.
I am the one with the drive skills, so
Okay.
that's fair enough.
Right. This is the right. Let me show you a map of Athens. This is where you're going on this map is the National Library of Greece, which is on the the dot on the most left-hand side. Okay. Right. Yeah. The organization there, how to put this in a politically correct way, it's very Greek. It's comparatively lax. There is security. Agent Jones, from your memory, the book is in a restricted section, so it can't be taken out of there. But but it can be viewed. So what Agent Khar has arranged makes sense for access. but actually, registering an assistant is probably unnecessary. Registering Agent Jones and then entourage is absolutely. They won't be counting people in and out. Okay.
So like, yeah, Agent Jones et al.
Okay. Now, Agent Jones, you're the point man on this. What identity are you using? And or do you want to try and fabricate one in the meantime? Bear in mind, I don't think you have any equipment to fabricate anything particularly complex.
Yes, that is a good question. I've got a US fake ID, haven't I?
Yes, you've got the US fake ID that you travelled to Germany on for the initial briefing.
So that because there's no need to lean into my. Depends how easy it is to gain access to this document if you're outside of the research cabal, clique, whatever you want to call it.
Agent Khar has arranged for you to have access to the book.
Yeah, so I think we'll just stick with that US cover.
Okay. Okay, that's fine. So that doesn't require anything. That's good. Right. Okay. Is there anything else you want to do while you're getting these bits of information? Does any of those two handouts prompt things you want to do or get other people to do, or any particular lines of inquiry you want to initiate from those, or anything like that?
If there's any way we can keep tabs on the war crimes investigation team, just to make sure that they don't suffer a mischief due to the eldritch being running around the area.
Yeah, I mean they're investigating a site 60 miles south of Mosul. So
Okay, how does that relate to the other
right,
skinnings that we've seen?
It might
That's
also
much
be
further.
relevant to know
Also,
their findings as
presumably
well.
that's downriver of Mosul, right? So
yes, correct.
Yeah.
So where is?
I'm not saying we like try and task a drone or anything like that, but maybe just every so often, like, I don't know, check with assets in the area, see if they have if the investigation team's bodies have turned up
Yeah.
dismembered in the river, or if they discover something particularly
Right.
important. Might be
This
worth keeping an
map
eye
is the
on.
best one to look at.
Yeah.
Do you see? So you see, if you see the Tigris River, it goes from Mosul, which is the top, down the middle of the map, and then almost at the bottom is the place Al Shikat.
Yep.
So that's where the bodies have been found. Sorry, the
Okay.
body parts have been found. The thing that has flagged interest is the fact that, as well as being dismembered, they have been skinned. There's that mention for the fisherman that they have been skinned. Or sorry, the arm he found had been skinned. Whether it's all of them, you don't know. But it's certainly it's certainly raised interest in what you've based on what you have witnessed or seen videos of before. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So yes, you can start to keep tabs on the UN war crimes investigation team. Certainly.
Awesome.
Anything else?
That's all I can think of.
Not while we're here. I mean,
there's actually one more thing. Sorry, Chris. I do want to make sure that I'm cleared to carry weapons in Greece, or at least a weapon
I'll
of
check
some
that.
description. Yeah, that might be something good to make sure of, so that if I have to suddenly pull out an AR in the middle of
So what
the
are you
middle of
taking
Greece.
into the middle of? What are you taking with you into Athens? More than a handgun?
If I can swing it, that depends on what Agent Khar can swing for me to carry.
Okay, I'll see what I can swing for.
Right.
Um,
What
uh,
are firearms laws in um, Greece?
I think it depends on the province of Greece that you reside in. So I think there are different areas of Greece that have looser firearms restrictions.
Right. I don't think some sort of military firearm.
No, it would probably have to be some sort of like PDW that's like locked to semi-auto or something, or like a shotgun of some description would be probably the biggest I could swing as a bodyguard weapon.
Well, that's going to be quite a bulky thing to carry around.
Yeah, I
And
know.
what you
It's probably. Oh, go ahead.
so
Sorry.
what you've got at the moment um, is a pistol.
Yep. That's. I guess. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
Okay.
I guess I'm going in with the pistol then. Yep, that works.
So
That's fine.
what are you setting up as a justification for Agent Pink to be carrying a pistol?
well, obviously, so I could be knowledge of Greek law. So I mean, pick something plausible. Diplomatic
Private
protection would
bodyguard?
seem the likely
Yeah.
one. Yes, private bodyguard.
Private bodyguard. Okay. So he's got. So I think because do you have any great knowledge of Greece as a country, Agent Khar?
Personally,
No, Agent Khar.
nothing specific written on my character sheet. No,
No. Okay. In that case, do you speak ancient Greek
no,
or modern Greek?
no.
Okay. So in that case, please can you give me a bureaucracy check at -20 because I think this is quite difficult.
Oh dear, I might have to break some laws.
Yeah, you definitely have to break some laws very well like that.
Okay. So yeah. So uh, you're able
Good
to
at
set
that.
up some kind of
Sorry.
you're able to set up some kind of bluff document, Agent Khar, but it, it will not pass electronic checking. You are
Okay.
certain.
So we'll
Okay.
just have to get by on flair and panache. We can do
Yeah.
that.
Okay.
We
So
can do that.
who is carrying a firearm? Is it just Pink or is anyone else carrying a firearm?
I'm not.
No. Okay. Right. Okay. Uh,
Well, if we're going to be going on sketch paperwork anyway, I'll be using the Stechkin pistol then. So, I
okay.
mean, it doesn't mechanically mean anything different.
Okay.
Just,
Okay.
it's a full auto pistol in real life.
Yeah. I know. Right. Okay. So. Okay. So. Right. Just sorry. Was there anything else you wanted to do prep-wise before you go? Either with the documents I've shown you or anything else preparations for um, going to Athens. No. Okay. Right. How are you intending to get? So you've landed at the airport. You've been checked through security. Um, you have landed at the military airbase. So there you've gone through security. Um, you've been able to smuggle the pistol with you. How do you wish to get to the National Library of Greece? Are you renting a car? Are you just getting a taxi? What are you doing?
Rent a car and one of the numerous false IDs that we have between us.
Okay, so rent a car, drive there. You have fun with navigating Greek roads and so on.
Oh yeah, that's a notoriously fun time, I've
Yep,
heard.
yep. But so you get delayed a little bit, lost a little bit, but eventually you get there. Because does any of you speak modern Greek? I think Agent.
No, I don't.
Yeah. Okay. So road signs are confusing, but you get there's enough touristy ones that eventually you find the National Library of Greece and can park up somewhere nearby. Okay. and the and the three of you enter into reception. How are you dressed? And because bear in mind, all of you got quite bushy beards, but I think you didn't cut them, but I think you cleaned them up and stuff to go to London.
Yeah.
And how it?
Yeah, I've got a high disguise skill, and I presume that my general skill levels should do get. They'll probably know how to dress like a grad student assistant to a eminent
Okay.
archaeologist, eminent combat archaeologist, no less, and I'll dress accordingly. And obviously, I've got some beard pomade and have tidied up my beard so it looks nice and tidy and clean and organised.
Okay. And so Agent Jones is just looking like he normally does, Professor Jones.
I think so, but I think
Tidy up his beard for him.
tidying yourself up, overdressing almost, I think is a sensible precaution to kind of counter the general
Okay.
look. I think, especially in these uncertain times.
Okay. So all three of you are reasonably well tidied up and dressed and so on.
Well, I mean, yeah, I'm also groomed up. I've got like the cheapest pair of plastic sunglasses and like the cheapest suit that money can buy.
Okay.
And like a plate carrier that you can't really see on under it. Like I've got the low profile up body armor.
Okay. You are sweating. It's hot in Greece.
I'm used to it at this point though.
Yep. True. Right. Okay.
It's only April. Can't be that bad.
Yeah, I don't think it's that hot compared to.
I mean, I was doing combat drops in Iraq and Afghanistan as a parajumper up to this point, so I fairly balmy.
Yep.
It's not 42 degrees.
No. True. Okay. Right. And the National Library of Greece is quite it's a beautiful building, quite sprawling. There are quite a it is actually a tourist attraction as well, so there are a few tourists coming in and out. There are so some of it's displays, but you want the sort of the back areas, and you go to speak to the receptionist, and of course, because they're used to English speakers who do not speak Greek, there are some of the receptionists speak quite good English, and a young man looks up in your clearly a register of expected visitors, and you are down there at the bottom of the list, clearly the last one added only a couple of hours ago, and he says, certainly, please come with me, and he takes you sort of through a door that is it has a sign that is translated into English which says researchers only, and it is very clear. It's very obvious, and to be honest, actually, sorry, Agent Jones, you've been here before, as we've noted before. You've been here because you knew this copy was here.
Yeah, but probably only once.
Yeah.
I'm not like a
no. And it's you go into sort of the sort of more private parts of the National Library. You can tell instantly you're not in a part that is on show to the public. It's still lovely. It's not quite as impressive in the architecture and so on, and everything. There's a few walls in need of coats of paint and things like that. And you're taken through to a librarian who appears to be a librarian's desk, and there are several librarians there, and they have the harassed look of people whose job it is to help visiting students and some academics finding various tombs from the National Archives. Okay, and he leaves you there, and uh, a, a woman says, one of the librarians says, how may I help you? She speaks fairly reasonable English. She's assumed from looking at you that she needs to speak English.
Oh yes, thank you.
Yes, smart move. Sorry, go
Um, this is Professor Smith. We're over from America. We have a brief opportunity to study, conduct some research related to his postdoctoral thesis, and we have been given permission to investigate a couple of books in the restricted archive,
Um,
and then make friendly small talk.
Please, what are these books, please?
Right. I'll reel off a couple of books. The dream up. Think of a couple of of very technical books that I've seen in our collection recently. So ancient peoples of obviously in Greek or in ancient peoples of Mesopotamia. The rare manuscript they've got from the Assyrian Empire, and drop in the middle of it the Pan-Cossack manuscripts.
Okay.
She
maybe a focus on sort of mystic, sort of like, maybe if there's something like the mystic traditions of the Mesopotamian people from 20 3000 BC to whatever.
So a couple of name a couple of academic books like
Mm.
that, a couple of classical ancient manuscripts like that, and the one we actually want to see.
Okay.
Nice.
Between you, that's absolutely fine, right? So she sort of purses her lips and clearly is thinking, and sort of pulls up on a computer and starts tapping away. And there's a couple of the ones you name. She doesn't even need to look at the up on the computer. She clearly knows where those are located. Yeah, but she says one of these. One of these I didn't even know we had. So this one called the Nancotic manuscripts.
Yes, that's right, with the silent P.
Yes. Well, the Greek name is quite different, so she gives you a Greek name for it. She says, yes, this is actually in a. So several of these books are, well, all of these books are. You may view them, and I'll bring them to you so you can view. None of them can be removed from the library. But the Nancotic manuscripts, that's very old. That you will need, and she passes you 3 pairs of white sort of satin gloves. Please wear these when you are handling it. I'm sure you know what you're doing. She says, sort of nodding at Agent Jones. Please be careful with this. It is apparently quite old. And she says, please come with me. And she gets up from behind her desk, and she's got on a post-it note, she's written down a number of sort of locations. Sort of looking at them, they're clearly locations in shelf locations for the library. And she takes you to a table. So in amongst the shelves, there's periodic tables, scattered tables, and she then starts coming back and bringing back the various books. Yep. Now, one key thing. From what you said, I'm assuming every book you've requested is in Greek or ancient Greek.
Keeping the theme would make sense.
Okay. Right. So some of them, the other ones the cover books.
Ask for one in Akkadian or something. I'll need something to read while he's doing all the work.
Yeah. Okay. So there's you've asked for some very interesting books to cover, and those are quite interesting. But the Nancotic,
Arabian Nights in Akkadian. Was that?
Yeah, something like that.
the Nancotic manuscripts actually look something like this.
Ooh. Hello.
And so that is really quite
Hard work.
yeah.
Yeah.
I think Frank Andy, they might insist that if we were going to see it, that they actually had their own person handle it. We wouldn't actually even be able to touch it with gloves or not. Something that ragged and old.
Okay. Right. So
whatever, it doesn't really matter.
yeah, someone's come out right. Now, this is all in ancient Greek. What is your skill in ancient Greek?
Could be better. Could be better.
You're about to be disappointed.
20.
Right. I am assuming that is the lowest of your ancient Greek history and occult skills.
No.
Your occult is lower.
Oh, that's the lowest. Oh, yes. Sorry. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the lowest. Yeah.
Right. Please make me an ancient Greek check.
All right.
Right. You're struggling to understand you're struggling to understand what the text is actually saying. It's a basic a language issue.
That's fine. So 50% is fluent, so 20% is presumably reasonably good.
It still requires a check for this.
Yeah, but I mean, even if you were fluent in a language, like a check on a 50% language would feel like fail 50% of the time feels like languages are treated differently in some way.
Not according to what it says here.
No worries, that's fine. So we're going to need some help then, I think, is probably the short answer.
Sounds that way.
Probably from somebody Greek, underpaid and needing cash.
I mean, that's...
Well,
during this time especially, that's probably not a rare thing to find.
You can speak ancient Greek. Or can read and write ancient Greek.
That might narrow the pool down a bit.
But I suspect we're in the right place to find somebody that has time and is willing to trade that for cash.
Right.
Or peanuts, depending on whichever they...
Do you wish to try and hire...
Some of these language specialists are eccentric.
Do you wish to try and hire a researcher then?
Well, that sounds very official. I was just thinking slipping somebody some money. Yeah, that probably makes sense.
You could do it that way then. Yeah.
No. Actually, what you say makes a lot more sense. It's probably a relatively well-trodden path, I suppose. Not everybody turning up as, I'll make my excuses. I do, I can actually hold a conversation in ancient Greek. It's just this manuscript is difficult to read and old, and I'm going to need some help. I will be humble in my apologies.
Mm-hmm. Okay. The official who is sort of opening the thing for you says certainly if you go back to the librarian, she'll be able to tell you if there's anyone there are a number of students who both study in the library and sometimes can be offered for can be available for hire for their translation skills.
Yes, such a pity. I was hoping I would be able to muddle through, but this will slow things down, unfortunately.
Okay, so long story short, there is actually someone physically in the library at the present moment who can be hired. Who is this lady?
It's almost like they thought people might have a problem reading ancient Greek.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And
Does she give off any sort of Emmeline Hale vibes? You know, just before we, because I seem to have a natural knack of finding these people.
what is your human skill?
Oh, 17.
17.
This
Right.
is why I keep on finding these
Right.
people.
What are Agent Khar and Ancient Pink's human skills?
73.
Mine is probably not as good as Khar. Yeah, mine's only 16. So I shouldn't be laughing. I have the lowest human tier.
Right. So Agent Jones and Pink, you are uncertain whether this lady, what was her name, Nicoletta, is if there's anything dodgy about her. But Agent Khar, you are pretty certain that she is what she appears to be, a grad student who is making some extra money on the side, doing translations for other for visiting people whose ancient Greek is not quite up to it.
Okay.
And you agree a small fee. It's negligible. It can be covered by your funding.
Yeah, the operating budget.
Yeah. Now she said she right.
We'll make sure to keep an invoice
Yeah.
to earn later.
Agent Khar, she is really quite excited when you get her read the manuscript. Clearly, she rarely gets to translate anything this old, this ancient within the library, and she's genuinely excited and quite fascinated.
Okay. Quiet word to Agent Pink. Excited and fascinated she might be, but just if you think she's starting to get too disturbed by what she's reading, then best usher her out.
I thought you were going to say shoot her in the back of the head.
I was like, oh, okay.
Right. And she tells you this is a fascinating document. And she turns to Agent Jones and says, I'm not surprised that you had trouble translating it. The handwriting is awful. And it's got some weird dialects of ancient Greek in it. And it's some of it. It's fascinating. Even though it's written in ancient Greek, some of it is not that old. Right. The Nancotica, which is called the Nancotic manuscripts, or it sometimes refers to it in this document as the Nancotic fragments. They claim to be a Greek magical papyri from around the time of Christ. They draw oracular and mystical meanings from a set of indecipherable runes and hieroglyphics supposedly discovered in somewhere called Ultima Thule. The Nancotic manuscripts purport to deal with a wide range of unnatural lore, gleaned from the wisdom of ancient masters who exist beyond time. So this is very, very odd. Conflicting interpretations of the Nancotica it says here, are an old part of Western magical tradition. It says since about 1485, so that's very odd that it's comparatively modern date. Explorers, occultists, philosophers, and archaeologists have added text, steles, and inscriptions in similar alphabets to the Nankotic corpus. And there's a warning that some are forgeries and honest mistakes. Some are trance writings. I think isn't that where people go into a trance and just write things, and it's very odd. And some of their own
There are
commentary.
no
So
confirmed cases of this ever happening. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
so she says,
I will respond accordingly to as she talks. I'll be responding encouraging and interested. And yes, that is fascinating. I've always heard this as well. This is very bizarre. And you just keep it going.
and she says,
She's also feeding us.
so as I say, this is almost like a commentary at the start of this tome. It's almost a commentary, and it's one of the things it says is there is no complete or authoritative edition of the Nankotic manuscripts. There are lots of different versions. Some are handwritten copies. Some apparently, I mean, this is written in ancient Greek, and but it's a modern comment because there's apparently some of the copies are academic conference proceedings. That sounds a very modern comparative things. And there are other partial versions can be found, it says, in many top-ranked universities. But I've never heard of this. Interesting. Apparently, a 3-volume set of the most commonly accepted corpus of the time was printed in London in 1768. And
That's really recent.
And this copy here contains elements of that.
Right.
Okay.
In Greek, though, all translated into English.
No, so that's what she's just summarised to you.
Oh yeah, okay.
Did that pop up?
Yeah.
Yep.
What the hell? What the hell is a mimeographed copy?
Mimeograph.
I'm gonna look at what a mimeograph is now.
Yeah,
So-
I'm trying to remember. I feel like I used to know what this was. but-
So so she's been going through essentially almost like an introduction cover, yeah. And as she starts to go through it, so that picture I put up of the ancient papyrus, some of it is like that and looks truly ancient. Some of it is typed, and sorry, when I say typed, printed, and it's clearly elements that it says printed in London in 1768. Some of it is clearly some sort of early version of printing. Yep. Some of it, mimeograph from memory, isn't that similar to microfiche, where it's
So I actually just looked it up. It's a type of. It's basically a primitive copy machine. It's like think like Edison era copy machine.
Okay.
It's a type of stencil based like printing press. Essentially, is what it is.
So
It's
someone
meant for
presumably
duplicating imagery. Yeah.
carved out the whole thing onto a wooden
Yep.
or
Onto a stencil
metal-based
and
stencil, and then they
yeah.
printed off some copies.
Then.
okay. So she says, so do you want me to carry on trying to translate this for you?
Yes.
Yes, now that
please.
we know what a mimeograph is, yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Like classic academics, right? They just
Yeah.
like, what the hell's a mimeograph?
I strongly
All
suspect
right.
our characters would have known that. I think.
I don't know.
Right.
I think Agent Jones. I don't know. Maybe not.
I
But, yeah.
might not
I
have,
think
to be
Agent
fair.
Khar probably didn't either. Actually,
You've got
No,
you've got to focus on the
no,
trivialities. That's
I
what
have got some
academics are all
archaeology.
about.
So
Oh, that's good.
Well, I think it's modern enough not to be covered by sort of. It's a very niche, sort of very short
Yeah.
period of time kind of thing,
Mhm.
really.
Yeah, because it's only around for like a
100 years,
couple,
maybe.
yeah, about that long, and then photocopiers start becoming a thing. and
Right.
that-
There is a lot
But
of
yeah, I'm going to take copious notes, obviously,
Okay.
in my notebook, and
there is a lot of stuff here. It's for her to go through it, and once she starts getting to the ancient papyri,
Yep.
she's having to take time to translate them because some of the writing is quite difficult, and she's absolutely
remind
fascinated,
me.
but it's quite confusing. This will uh,
so you want to be
just
careful. These things can drive you mad.
sorry, you're saying that.
No,
No.
I am
Okay.
not.
So she is she carries on working through it, right? Um,
Yeah,
uh,
I think there's no way of shortcutting this. We'll just have to churn our way through it because we're
Mm.
looking for more information on the father of war,
Well,
aren't
the
we?
thing is, that's going to take a long time. As in, reading these things usually takes weeks or months, doesn't it?
yes, I have been, to be honest, I've been shortcutting it a little bit for the purposes of storytelling, but yes.
But yeah, I mean, the point is, we're not going to be able to stay here for long enough to do a job. We can't even read the language. Does anybody else in the team speak Greek, ancient Greek?
No. Um, okay. She is happy to take a commission and produce a translation for you. Okay. That will take her some time. Also, um, for her to translate it all, she's got to read it all. That may have, if this tome has some unnatural properties, it might have an effect on her mind. Yeah. If so, you could go, if you want to, she can spend time doing it, but it will be at least days, probably more.
Yeah. I mean, we could
Yeah.
task her with the job, pay her a generous retainer, courtesy
I mean,
of.
is there
whatever.
any
Yeah.
is there any danger she's going to go mad and wreak havoc in Athens?
Um,
Will
one
we
of
do
your
like sort of an end of the day standard sanity check or something? Like
uh,
answer these 3 questions.
you,
What
you, your
what do these random ink blobs represent to you?
your your role within Delta Green is to contain outbreaks of unnatural things and contain unnatural events. Getting some random woman to translate a
Yeah, probably doesn't exactly
book
fit with
into
the mission
English
brief.
Yeah.
runs a risk of creating something.
Yeah, I feel like you would
Yeah.
probably not. Does
I doubt she's going to summon anything or cause anything. I mean, she might go slightly deranged, but for the greater good.
No, have we got anyone feel we can depend on to do this? And between us, we have any contacts within Delta Green or something like that? Oh yeah, I tell you
Yeah.
what, there's that bloke back in the prison. Yeah, no, what's his face?
does he speak
Sloane.
ancient Greek?
Sloan. The colonel won't go. Or was it Major? Won't go with that.
Colonel Gwyn. So he's kept Sloane on ice as such, ready to talk to you as a resource, as you had said.
What can we Can we gain access to another Delta Green agent?
Yeah, well, that's
Yeah.
what I was thinking. Is do we just, because I know that Delta Green has like a kind of like second tier like asset program where it's kind of just like trusted contractors or specialists in one particular field. I was just wondering if maybe we had one in the area that,
So
or
I
had
think
one in
the
general
risk
that
on this is pretty small.
specializes. Yeah.
We weren't. This was just for information on the Father of War.
Yeah.
It wasn't any indication that it had any signs or magic kind of embedded in it.
Right.
That was more of a question to Andy, but yeah.
sorry, say that again. Apologies.
We didn't think that there was any risk with this manuscript, that it didn't contain the Elder Sign or any other sort of magical.
That's true.
You don't know. Or it was, you were talking about the Father of War, and Emmeline Hale said that there's a tome she's heard of that may have more information, and that was the Nangotic manuscripts. Yes, you could certainly get a Delta Green asset to compile a translation of this for you.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that might be the best way to do it. Just keep it in house.
Okay. Do you want to leave the book here, or are you intending to do something like stealing the book?
Leave it here.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll just leave it here.
So you're going to leave. Let Nicoletta finish with that summary she's given you. Yeah. Okay. And then
pay her for her time. You know, the usual.
Yeah.
Don't
Okay.
call us, we'll call you.
She is fascinated by this book.
I don't know. Have either of you got any psychoanalysis, psychotherapy, whatever it is? She's fascinated. Is she unhealthily fascinated by it?
What is your human score? Is 62, isn't it?
My human's very good. Yes.
Psychotherapy.
No, my human is. I've lost it. 73.
73. Right. You think there's a distinct risk that she is going to come back and access this separately and carry on reading it because she's fascinated.
Oh, good. Wonderful.
It's too late.
Slowly pulls pistol out of the holster.
Just bear in mind that you're in a pub. I know you're joking, but just to reset the scene again, you're not in a private room. You're in a table in amongst in amongst shelves. There is another museum library official there who is turning all the pages and moving things around in white gloves. And also, because there's a group of 5 of you gathered around a series of books, and because she's been squealing with interest, there have been other people.
A small crowd. Yeah.
Not a small crowd. No, nothing. Not a small crowd.
Okay.
But as other people have sort of glanced over of that looks interesting type response.
Gotcha.
Okay. I think you want.
We
to keep
stuck out.
Pink, I think you want to generally discourage people from being too interested in this.
Yeah. I'm just standing there. Move along.
Maybe we need to impress upon her. Maybe we need to go down the route of, look, we know this is interesting and it's kind of an academic find, but that's kind of why we're interested in it. And I'm intending to publish, and I don't want to kind of spoil the party. And could you kind of have a bit of discretion, and credit
That's a much better approach.
Be credited.
Yes.
Credit will be given where it's due in whatever publication.
What is your persuade skill? Right? What is your persuade skill?
Ooh.
That's why I'm telling somebody else to do this. No, 40%.
No, it's a fair. Once you start mentioning academic credit, that is 40 is enough that she goes certainly.
I'm as excited as you are about the prospect of this, and I'm
okay. She actually takes a piece of paper from a notebook and gives you her full name, which, as you probably had a full name, and her mobile number and her email address, because she would like to be involved in more in this. Okay, but she says
potential Delta Green recruit.
Yeah, I was going to say I might mark her down as a potential local asset for Delta Green.
We may also get possibly admonished for exposing her to. Yeah. Oh
Oh
well.
well.
But
That's-
Oh well.
you've
You
right,
win, you some you lose, some.
right. So, Khar, your reading of her is that she's still interested, but she's delaying intending to come and study it herself because she's interested in potentially studying it as part of your academic study,
Okay.
or rather, Agent Jones's academic study.
I just can't wait until we find out that she's part of Italy's version of Delta Green, because apparently everyone has one.
Right. So you're leaving it there now,
Yep.
and you're going to arrange for as soon as possible um, uh, someone to come and translate it.
No, I think the intention was to have somebody. Well, I think she's going to want to do that, isn't she?
She's interested in doing it,
Probably.
yes.
So it was more about whether we should get somebody to watch over her, so
Okay.
that if something did go wrong. But I can't quite think of a reason for that to happen without being suspicious.
Um,
Well, what if, because you mentioned, did you say you were? I mean, it's implied now with an assistant here with you that you're part of a team working on this. All you have to do is just bring on a Delta Green asset as like the part of the team that's like overseeing her translation, and just leave it at that, and maybe that'll work as a cover.
Maybe, yeah.
That's an option.
is that what you're going to go for, Bruce? You thinking?
Anything better is
Deep
pretty
in the
tenuous,
tank.
but it's going to have to do. I can't think of anything else more convincing.
Okay.
I mean, the other option is just to have somebody watch her from a distance without actually being like that she knows about them.
Mm.
Just keep an eye on us, because all we're really worried is if she starts summoning something.
Yeah, we just stationed a Delta Green operative at a Euro stand across the street from the
That's
museum.
the only other option I can think of. Well, possibly also, or just have them embedded in the university,
Oh, yeah,
lurking around,
actually, yeah.
Okay.
doing some other research, less innocuous research, but just to keep an eye on her.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
Um,
If you can find a suitable asset anyway.
yeah. Okay. So, and you're going to arrange that with Colonel Gwyn.
Yeah, I
Try,
think so.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Don't fancy hiring a Greek PI with no Greek.
Keep expanding this even. Yeah, we're just gonna keep making the risk factors even more. We're gonna just hire a PI completely outside of Delta Green to watch over this woman.
You could do it.
Because we need. We
You
could, yeah.
were given a load of cash, so you have the facilities to do that.
No,
I
just
think that
kidding.
might be a mistake.
That might be a bit much.
Okay. Right. Okay. What so do you want to leave it there in the library and?
Yeah,
Yeah. Okay.
we'll have to. Yeah, we'll leave it to it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Unless one of us can spontaneously like generate the ability to read ancient Greek.
No. Okay. So you are you arranging which way do you want to go um uh with this? Do you want her? Sorry. Do you want to uh, get Delta Green to send another member of your research team to partner with her while she translates, or do you want to just get Delta Green to go and put someone to watch her?
As far as Agent Pink's view on this is concerned, like my character, I think he would just want someone to keep an eye on her because she's very clearly extremely interested in this ancient text, and Delta Green should probably keep tabs on this ancient text for that reason.
Yeah, is that you go that route? So not
Yeah.
so just someone watching her. Okay, right.
I think so.
Okay. So are you contacting Colonel Gwyn promptly then? Yep. Okay.
Yeah, I'm going to be very quick about it, I think.
Okay.
I'll talk to him. He likes me.
Okay. So you've yes, Khar, what is it?
Do we have any friendly assets in the vicinity of Athens?
For what kind of operation?
Simple observation. Private investigator or something like that would do it.
Do they need to know anything about the unnatural?
What do you think, guys? I don't think so. No, they don't. They just need to. I'll give them a very brisk overview of this. We're on a secure line here. I assume we are.
Yes. Yeah.
A brisk overview is unfortunately might have inadvertently exposed a civilian to a profane manuscript. And we just
What
want to keep
manuscript?
the narcotic manuscript.
Okay. Your human tells you he's not actually trying to hide it, but he's heard of that.
Doing better than me then. It's held in the the Metropolitan Library of Athens, and someone came out to help us and has become obsessed. I am concerned, based on my experience with people, that she is going to become obsessed with it or disturb it, or it could do some damage. It would be best perhaps to prevent any kind of spread or any further problems.
Okay. Then let us.
So someone needs to come in and pretend to be a student or something like that and just keep an eye on her.
Okay. You have her details. Obviously, you do. So you pass those across.
And should inform us if there are any problems. We'll make the mess. We'll clean it up.
Okay.
However, we need someone to carry out this jobs while we continue with our operation. We're currently at the information gathering stage. I presume he receives regular updates from us. I don't know
Yes, he does. He has been. Yes.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
Right. What are you looking to learn from the narcotic manuscripts?
We have reason to believe it has further information on the Father of War.
Okay.
Honestly, at this stage, we're reaching to try and get any information we possibly can before we proceed to the field. Try and implement some sort of plan.
Okay. So. Okay. Right. Okay. And so I will take care of this. Yes, certainly.
Right. Thank you, sir. Is he a sir to us?
It wouldn't hurt.
Okay, yeah. Let's face it, we have kind of screwed up there. We are looking to.
He doesn't appear to be cross.
We'll expect him to be. You can't, involved in a complex
Officers
operation.
just like being called sir.
That's true.
Right. So having left the library in Athens. You're heading back to your plane. Where are you going now? Or was there more you wanted to do in Athens?
I don't think so. We don't have any
I
more
don't
leads in
think so.
Athens. I think we've done enough damage for.
We? Sorry,
Yes.
I'm metagaming here, but to keep saying that makes me think you must be missing something.
No, I think
Are you sure you want to leave?
I think the
Yeah,
only
I
other
think we
thing
need to
that we
head.
wanted to do was to potential from a research point of view anyway, was to look at the tablets in Baghdad, University of the Museum of
Okay.
Baghdad. But really, I'm a little bit vague on what we're missing, what we're not missing, what we can do, and what we can't do without that. So I know we've got the four, the four rituals, if you like, but I'm a little bit lost in terms of which ones are where.
Excuse me,
And to be honest, the value of running around chasing our own tails.
You need to go to the library in Baghdad to be able to complete.
that's kind of mission. That's almost mission critical, isn't it? We need to see those tablets. We need to photograph each one. That way, we start to build up that maybe we might actually have a complete set of what's on them.
Right, your tablets contained a complete set of 2 rituals, one called the Elder Sign, one called the Vorish Sign, and you had partial for call forth those from outside and the closing of the breach.
Okay, right. This is getting really heavy.
And so, going to Baghdad, you have some stuff already from from London, but there are bits that you need in Baghdad. You hope they're there. Bear in mind, just to remind you, what they have in Baghdad has been catalogued pre the invasion by Daesh and the capture by Daesh. But the place was looted and stuff has been recovered, but it's not believed all of it has been recovered, and is now not categorized. So you need to go and you would need to go and search and see if you've got the bits to get those 2 rituals complete, or whether you need to rely on photocopies of them. Or sorry, not photocopies.
Photographs.
Photographs. Yeah, I mean they're highly detailed, professional quality level photographs. They're very, very good scans, but it's clear that trying to learn the ritual from the originals will be easier.
Yeah, of course.
So, is that clear now, Bruce? That what you
Are we talking about snaffling these things from the library of? Well, that's not something for the 3 of us to do. We would need the full team to do that, I think.
No,
but we
for
should
sure.
at least something we can do relatively briskly and relatively safely is photograph them.
Well, you've got photographs of all of them already.
Emily
Hale has provided you with copies because she's got, because while you were you had taken yours, actually yours are pretty good quality, but Farmer is a very good photographer, but he is not a professional level photographer. So you have provided her with good copies of the ones you found, some of which she had never seen. Yeah.
Okay.
And she was clearly very fascinated by your set and where it's come from, because it appears to be completely unknown. She essentially thought there were 2 sets. You've got one that is has, just to remind you, according to the tablets, there are 397 of them in total. Yep. You have 283. The British Museum has 182, and the Baghdad Museum has recovered 94 out of the 136 that they had.
Right.
Okay. So there's definite overlap, but also there's definite ones that she had never seen before. Okay. What you saying, Bruce? I think you might be muted.
Are there?
No,
Hold on,
sorry,
I wasn't keeping up with the numbers there. Does that mean that there are some that are just generally unknown and that have been seen and we don't know where they are?
There are right.
I'm just thinking these ones that are missing from Baghdad's library, plus possibly any others that exist in private collections. We could try and smoke out the owners by doing something as simple as putting a one on eBay or something like that under a bogus account and see who bites.
Yeah, no, I was thinking more we could use the digital copies from the Baghdad one to identify the tablets that we effectively want to steal or bribe, because the inference was that we really needed the physical tablets in order to cast some of these elder signs, that the digital copies wouldn't be
how many
sufficient.
tablets is this? You're not
Well,
going to sit them in your pocket and walk away, you know.
So she's got what Emmeline Hale said is that the Baghdad Museum used to have 136. They were then stolen, or some of them were stolen. They have now recovered a total of 94 out of the 136, but they have not been catalogued again, so she does not know which ones are there.
Right, but there's still 40 missing.
Yes, 42 missing.
Just a thought.
Yeah, all right. I don't want to get too bogged down in it. I mean, I just think we need to identify. In my mind, this was as simple, I suppose, as identifying the key set of tablets that we needed in order to cast these rituals.
There's 94 tablets.
And that was
How many tablets can we fit in a single crate when we were collecting them before?
But we don't need them all.
I think you can fit about 16 to a crate, because the crates that Rassam had. I mean, he had proper archaeologist type packing crates where they were packed in foam and so on. He'd clearly had something made to transport them. So 16 to a
16 to a quality crate, 32 to a rubbish crate. So that's 3 crates. So like I said, we're not going to be able to just walk out with it that easily, but I don't know.
So are you saying though that you want to go and Baghdad and see what's there? Do you want to do that now?
Yeah, should we do that?
Copies of what was at Baghdad.
So the audio is funny. It missed.
Yeah, you start talking, it takes about 2 seconds to cut in, so we missed the first bit of whatever you're saying.
Sorry. The I was asking whether the whether we got digital copies of the ones in Baghdad, so we can just identify the individual tablets rather than nick a lot.
So
yeah,
So are we talking about 2 tablets that can kind of give us what we need, or are we talking 20 or 30?
You are talking. So if you just want to complete if you just want to complete the 2 rituals that are incomplete, it is a total of 9, 5 for one, 4 for the other.
Well, that's not too bad. We can do that.
Yeah.
What about, however, if we want to take all the ones that we haven't got?
Sorry, just to be clear, that's the digital copies. You're not certain the physical copies for those are there. Okay, because as I say, it's not been recatalogued. Right. It is. There are 56 tablets in Baghdad that are not in your set.
Yeah,
So
again,
50 or 15?
56, 56.
56, right.
I don't know. I think.
So I'm flagging, but I need another drink or something like that. So I'm just going to go get some squash. Okay, back in a minute.
Yep.
I think what I'm trying to get at is we don't need those. We've got digital copies of them, so we can do the translate. We can read them and stuff. I think it's this piece about needing the physical tablets for casting the rituals that's got me going to the Baghdad University. If we've got digital copies, then I don't care. And if we don't need the physical copies, then I don't care.
Okay.
But if we need the physical copies to do the rituals, then we need to get the physical copies.
You can do the rituals with digital copies, but it is harder. It's a difficulty issue.
Yeah. So, and given that we've got like 2% in the unnatural or whatever it's going to be, every little is going to help, right? So.
Okay.
Although the idea of carrying 20 tablets into a combat zone in Mosul so I can just cast a ritual doesn't fill me with confidence of overall mission success.
It's all about learning the ritual.
Okay. Well, that doesn't fill me with a huge amount of confidence either. But
slightly less confidence. Yes. Right. Okay. Right. Right. So, do you want to go to where are you going from Athens?
I'll go back to base, chat,
Okay.
rest up, do whatever, blah blah blah. But then I think we've got to decide which, if any, of the tablets we want to go nick from the museum, stroke bribe, stroke whatever, liberate from the museum of Baghdad, plus whatever else anybody else wants to do.
Right. Unfortunately, those players aren't here. Right. So. Right. How am I going to do this? Okay. Right. So you fly back to Kirkuk to catch up with the others.
Mhm.
Right. Okay. Right. So, Chris, the plan currently is to fly back to Kirkuk to catch up with the others.
Okay.
Okay. Right. So you arrive back there.
Excuse me.
Yeah, you've probably spent most of the day you spent basically the whole day in Greece. You fly back overnight. Right. So that will be on. Right. Okay. Right. Right. So you arrive back. You're probably flying overnight again. You'll fly back in Kirkuk, sort of the early hours, getting on for sort of 6 o'clock in the morning on the 11th. Okay. Now, I'm going to have to do a bit of a time dilation thing because the other characters will have done some things in the meantime, but we'll come to that. Okay, so back there, when you're traveling, am I correct that, because you said this previously, that Agent Jones is studying specifically the Elder Sign ritual, trying to learn that? Wasn't that what you were doing?
So there were 4 rituals, right?
Yeah, Elder Sign seemed to be the one that was most important.
Yeah. So I'll start with that one, but then we've got the Vorish sign and 2 others.
Yeah.
I don't really care about learning how to call forth those from the outside, but closing the breach seems like a good one. But yeah, let's start with the Elder Sign.
Okay.
Well, it's not clear what the Elder Sign, at least I've not made a note of what the Elder Sign actually does.
I've given you that note just before we started the session.
Yes, okay, that's right. That's probably why I didn't write it down.
So,
I'll read it again. It's not a problem.
yeah,
Yeah.
okay. Right. Sorry, where is...
It's the bit about being drained of their power if they're forced to do so. Interesting. Okay.
Right. You've discovered enough to understand what the Vorish sign does, though you
Yeah.
don't know yet how to cast it. It allows you to see see things that are invisible due to their otherworldly nature, either entities or sometimes gates, and sometimes indications of ongoing hypergeometric effects.
So as far as I can see from what you're saying up there, the Elder Sign, unless we did the really potent one at the end, is just going to stop it from coming within about 10 meters of us, which doesn't strike me as being... Unless we
Right.
can force them to come to it. It doesn't seem hugely useful on first pass, but maybe somebody else can...
Well, right. The stopper. Okay. Once you're back in Kirkuk, you're what you're able to work out is the stopper. Do you remember the stopper that had?
Yeah.
So where's it gone?
The one that keeps on trying to not stop itself.
Yeah. That. So that had a symbol on the inside of it. Okay. And what appears, studying that, and I can't remember if anyone has actually studied this in detail yet, but you can certainly spot it now looking at it. It is cracked. It appears to have been hit by a randomly fired bullet at some point after it was removed and cracked. And the what that looks like is that it was actually the third paragraph, the second use of it. The elder sign may be inscribed permanently on a surface, preferably some especially long-lasting stone or metal object that the inscriber has made. So beings from outside cannot come within about 10 meters of the sigil unless it is broken. So this would essentially block whatever was in the amphora from exiting. Yeah.
Okay. So I missed. I think there was a 4th ritual called Closing of the Breach, which I think I'd maybe fixated on as being useful. I don't think it had a fancy name unless I...
No, there's the 4 rituals: elder sign, Vorish sign, which is to do with seeing invisible things.
Yep. I don't want to do that because I'm afraid what I'll see.
Yep. Okay.
Yeah,
I might see otherworldly creatures
Yep.
all the time.
Look, having sight beyond vision isn't necessarily a good thing.
A partial of call forth those from outside and the closing of the breach.
Yeah.
Okay, you know names of those two. Don't really understand their
Yeah.
capabilities at the present moment because you don't have enough information. Yep.
So
Now,
let's concentrate on the elder side and then possibly that last one.
so with the elder sign, you have been studying it long enough now. Right, hang on a sec. So, sorry, I just need to check on a rule on something. Right. From your studying of the elder sign, please can you make me a sand test?
I certainly can. So I roll my sanity points, yeah?
Yeah, if you just click on your SAN, I think it's a button on the character sheet and it'll roll against it. Right.
The same as the next man.
Yes. Unfortunately, because you're sane as the next man, you don't quite grasp what is required to cast this. So you realise that you've got to let your mind go a bit more to understand what is required to to understand what is required to cast it. Game mechanics wise, you need to fail a sand check. Okay, but you can try again after you spend some more time studying it.
You probably want me to do it. I'm probably best qualified.
It's written in Arcadian at the present moment.
Oh, that's fine.
Not Arcadian. What's the language that? No, Aramaic. It's written in Aramaic. Sorry. But Agent
I read
Khar.
Aramaic.
Sorry,
I read Aramaic.
I thought you read.
I read Acadian.
So
I read Acadian as well.
Okay.
Just to remind everybody, we can have conversations in Acadian.
Okay. However, Agent Khar, you've got the Journal of Tariq Rassam. Yeah. So you've been studying. You paused to study there, but now you're back in Kirkuk. You can do some more studying of that. What is your archaeology skill?
Oh, not very good. 20.
Right. Because this is written in Aramaic. From memory, Aramaic is a language that Agent Khar speaks, but Agent Jones doesn't, or reads rather. Is that correct?
Yeah, I speak Aramaic. Well,
Yeah.
read.
Okay.
Speak.
Okay. So back in Kirkuk, are you continuing to study that
Yeah, well, that's my assigned task. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. You pull out 2 other useful pieces of information
okay.
as you're working through effectively his diary, his journal. So uh, so this is sort of more recent years, and this ends on the one called "Hiding the Throne of Blood." It ends with a comment. His very last journal entry states that he planned to look once more for his old contact in Delta Green and ask for their
Okay.
help in smuggling the Throne of Blood out of Iraq. Okay. And then the last one, the Throne of Blood, door and prison. So
Okay.
Rassam believed that the Throne of Blood was both a prison and a door. Um, he knew of the ritual of the Elder Sign and suspected it may have some power, but hesitated to evoke it uh, lest his soul be jeopardized by the act of aligning with those princes and principalities outside. Um, so one of his comments was that one of the things he's learned is that people who had not learned anything substantial about the unnatural are disturbed by the father's presence, um, particularly in their dreams. And he speculated that from even inside his prison, the father of war brought misery, death, and chaos to the world. But that essentially it's stopping his physical presence, but not necessarily his influence. And then the last bit about its influence being connected to the phases of the moon, and also that the father of war shunned sunlight. Okay.
What is the phase of the moon at the moment?
Hang on a sec.
We will start paying attention to that.
There was a new moon on the 7th of April. It is currently the 11th of April. So on the 14th of April will be a first quarter moon. Okay.
Yep.
Now, where am I? Right. Agent Khar, please make me another sand check.
boy.
Yep. Fumble.
Right. You lose. Hang on a sec.
That is a fumble, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, doubles in this, isn't it?
Yeah.
Sweet.
He tells you in big letters.
Oh yes.
Right. You lose 2 more points of SAN and gain 1 point of unnatural. 'Cause
Oh right.
I think you have 3 already, don't you?
No one.
Did I look at the wrong?
That puts me up for 2.
No. In that case, sorry.
That's what I've got on my character sheet.
You got that? Okay. Right. Okay. I've looked at the wrong character sheet. Right. You're sorry. So hang on a sec. So sorry. In that case, I've got myself confused. You don't lose 2 points of SAN. You lose 4 points of SAN, but you gain 3 points of unnatural for a total of 4.
Hold on. So okay. And I gained 3 points of unnatural.
So your unnatural should now be a total of 4.
Okay.
Okay. And you've now finished your studying of the journals. And one of the things in there, scattered around among them, are quite a number of rituals, this time written in Aramaic.
Okay.
There is, and this is quite a list.
I need to write this down.
Yeah, I might actually type it in the.
We've got some notes somewhere.
No, I don't think there is a common notes thing, which might be an idea to add, but I'm going to
I
type it in.
understand why these things don't include personal notes and common notes for every character.
Yeah,
None of them do it.
no. I think there is a way of setting up. In fact, let's do it now.
There's personal details and notes down here, but I'm going to pop it in there.
Handout. So I'm putting something in all of your journals. Okay, so there is clear the path, the closing
Hold on.
of the. I'm writing this as a no. You should be able to see in a sec. Do you want me to read them slow so you can write them down?
No, it's okay. If you're writing them down, that's fine with me.
One called the closing of the breach.
Right. Do you have any idea what these do?
If you spend time to study them, not to learn them, but to study them, you can figure out what they do.
Okay.
But that will take time.
Oh, well, we'll see what everyone else is doing. If I have time, research time I'm not using, then I'll do that. But let's get titles for the time being.
Dust of the Thresholds, the Elder Sign.
Oh,
So he appears to have translated that into Aramaic. Exorcism, the Flower of Dilmun, I never pronounce this word correctly. Is it Gisa? Gias? Gisa. Geasa.
Geisha.
Geisha.
Is that right? Sounds a bit like a Japanese.
No, it's not the Japanese. No, Gias.
It's not. It's geisha or something like that.
Yeah.
It's got a sh sound.
Obscure Memory. The Powder of Ibn Ghazi,
There was loads of it.
Song of Power, Soothing Song, the Vorish Sign, and Transmutation. So his journal is quite loaded with spells. Okay. So now, have you seen something come up called shared notes? I have made it visible to all of you.
I saw the list of things move, so it must be here somewhere.
Right, I've
Yes.
shown it to
There
you.
we go. Yep, I see it.
I'm just moving it so it's in the correct alphabetical position. Okay. Right.
Shared notes, found it. Right, okay.
Right.
What you could do is call it Z shared note so it appears at the bottom, or A shared note so it appears at the top, but that's all.
We'll figure that one out.
Yeah.
Right. Is there anything else that you want to do that doesn't involve the other PCs?
No, I've done that. I mean, if we are still doing researches, then I'll start researching what these things actually do.
Okay. Right. I think that we need to pause the session there because I think we need to catch
I
up
think
with the others.
if we're going to have to start discussing what our next steps are going to be,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
those are going to affect the next few sessions whenever we do. So
Yeah.
I think so.
Okay. Right. So I think we'll end it for that tonight there. So thank you anyone who's watched this. I hope you've enjoyed it. We're enjoying this a lot. At least I am. I hope my players are.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
And there will be another session in a couple of weeks' time, hopefully. But thank you for now, and we will be back soon. Thanks very much. Goodbye.
Peace.